Good morning and welcome to Peggy's Place. I'm Leanne Lindsay along with Ms. Peggy Berryhill streaming in from home in Anchor Bay. And we are going to have a wonderful show today on Peggy's Place here at KGUA in Wallala. We are also live on YouTube right now, so you can go to YouTube and just search for KGUA and you'll find our show starting up this morning. We have a really fun show lined up for today. We're going to be talking with a young man from the Sea Ranch and his mom. That's Adam Steitz and his mom, Katherine Van Loon. And that will be coming up right after we make some announcements. We've got a lot to talk about this morning before we get into our show, but we will start with some of the things like food. Today, there is the Wallala Food Bank that they will have their free food distributions at the Wallala Baptist Church on Friday. Today, the 13th, it's a drive-by distribution. Walk-ins are also welcome. They will distribute bags of food that include canned goods, bread, meat, fresh fruit, and vegetables. And the hours are 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. right up above us in the Cypress Village at the Gualala Baptist Church at 37300 Church Street. And that is also going to happen again on Friday, August the 27th. Coastal Seniors monthly lunch menu continues next week, Monday. You can get your orders in at least the day before if you would. They say call by 4 p.m. the day prior to order a meal or schedule delivery. Delivery is for seniors and disabled adults only, but these are meals to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the Point Arena Veterans Building, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. On Monday, it is baked cod provincial or provincial with diced tomatoes, herbs, and olives, sauteed zucchini, and brown wild rice, and even a strawberry shortcake. Lots of good things. They line up every week on their monthly lunch menu, which you can see at coastalseniors.org. And then the Sweet Life Bakery also has meals just about 7 days a week. Yes, they are. The bakery is open 7 days a week between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And if you get your order in right now, by calling them, you get shepherd's pie for today that you pick up at noon. And then tomorrow it's African peanut soup, but not with almonds. It's instead of, it is with almonds instead of peanuts. Anyway, they've got veggie burgers on Sunday. This is a great little service for our community too, because this is a sliding scale that you can do. And then we're going to take a look at some of the events that's also happening up today in Point Arena. It is again the farmers market at 3 to 6 p.m. in the general store parking lot. And then also let's see, at Think Visual Gallery in Point Arena, they have Meet the Artist today. And that's another Point Arena point of view featuring the photography of Liz Paralat, Michael Beatty, and Jeff Hillier with jazz piano played by Isha, and snacks will be served. And masks and distancing will be observed in the gallery, and that exhibit runs through August 16th. So the end of this weekend, Sunday. And again, that's 3 to 7 p.m. That is also going to take us now into Saturday for the Wallala Farmers Market, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. right here at the community center in the Cypress Village at the Dolphin Gallery from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. There is going to be an art opening called Baskets and Gourds. Anything goes, featuring the baskets of Bay Area basket makers. And that's 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. right here in the Cypress Village at the Dolphin Gallery. For more information, you can go to gualalaarts.org or call 884-3986. And then there is also up in Elk, there is a free exhibit featuring Sandra Sula's Little Souls, which are small framed found object assemblages. And the masks and distancing are required too. And this runs through the end of August. That is at the Elk Artist Collective. And then down in Point Arena again, at the Coast Highway Art Collective, they do have an exhibit going on featuring the works of artists Emma Hurley, ceramic and clothing, and Phil Clark, wood. And that's 12 to 5 p.m. It's going to be Saturday, the 14th, and the show runs from August, so it's from today, this weekend through the 29th. and that's at the Coast Highway Art Collective. Up in Fort Bragg, it's the last Symphony of the Redwoods in the Coast Botanical Gardens there in Fort Bragg. And it is free with purchase of garden admission, and it's going to be plenty of piano and brass music that will be served up there in the garden. And that, I believe, one more thing. Oh, yes, the Discovery Gallery has their ongoing showing of the Discovery Gallery of the Studio Discovery Tour happening in September. And you can see the pre-show in their new expanded space. They're next to Trinks here in Gualala. And that now is going to bring us to our show today, which is going to be, I think, a lot of fun. We've got a man from the Sea Ranch named Adam Steitz, along with his mom, Katherine, and Loon, who I believe are going to be able to join us as soon as they open their mic and we can hear them. Good morning. Let's see if we can hear you talk, if you'll open up your mic. There
Hi.
you are. Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good to have you. Good morning. And good morning, Katherine. Good to have you both on Peggy's Place.
Good morning. Thanks for having us both.
And Peggy Berryhill, too, is joining us from her home in Anchor Bay. Good morning, Peggy. We can't hear her, though, unfortunately.
I don't think she's unmuted.
Well, let's see. Yes, Peggy, you do need to unmute. That's the one thing that we all have learned about Zoom over this past year and a half. With
I'm
all,
muted. I'm
there
here.
you are. The audio
Hey.
king herself.
And I have a friend.
Oh,
What does it say on him? Well, I can't. What does it say?
it's an
Actually, it's not an astronaut. It's people who work in computer labs, Intel labs. They have to dress like astronauts so that they don't get any dirt anywhere.
Yeah.
This is-
Okay. Now that rings a bell. Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
gives a little a teaser into what we're going to be talking about today. We are talking summer camps, and the first one we're going to be talking about is one that is actually local, and it's farm camp. And there, Adam is stood up, and if you're on YouTube, you can see his nice over shirt there.
Yeah. It's the hoodie. I got this year at farm camp.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And then that's right here in our location on the Mendonoma coast. It's down at Plantation, just south of us, south of the Sea Ranch, close to in between us and Timber Cove. And then the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about space.
Space camp.
And that's in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. So let's just start talking about you, Adam. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and you too, Katherine, and let us know how long you've been there.
So I'm Adam Steitz. I'm 10. I turned 10 July 23rd this year. I've been living in Sea Ranch for the whole pandemic and about 3 years and a quarter of my life, and 3 years and 4 months of my life. Most of it was just weekends because I have all the school, but and my parents have work. So, but
Where is, do you have another home then? That you,
yeah. So for school, I'm in SF. And
well,
so,
my son was born in San Francisco too, and he went to Mill Valley School when he was growing.
I go to Sherman Elementary, which is on Union Street and Franklin.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to be in 4th grade.
Are you going back to school this year, or are you still doing it remote?
I'm going back to school.
Very
That's
interesting.
how do you get there, Adam? That's a long commute. Do you live in San Francisco during the week?
It's just 2 hours usually.
Oh, okay.
We do 2-hour drives up and down.
So
That's
you
pretty
come back
cool.
on the weekend then, is that it?
Yeah, we stay there for a weekend, usually come back on Mondays. But I mean, on Monday mornings, but this isn't gonna work because this year and normally my school starts at 7:50.
I
Yeah.
noticed it. I noticed you seemed like today was kind of early for you, Adam.
I've also been in Sea Ranch for the last year and a half.
Uh-huh.
Yes, full time for the pandemic. Quite a change, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah, and you can take me out of Sea Ranch, but you can't take the Sea Ranch out of me.
Oh, I love
All right. So how has it been? Are you looking forward to seeing your friends again in
Yeah.
school?
Yes. The other day we moved, and there's a lot of kids on our street, so I'm pretty excited to meet some other kids on the street today. So.
Well, why don't we find out how you guys found out about farm camp? And
So, in like around March, is that around when? No,
That's about right.
in March, my mom found was looking for camps, and she found farm camp. So she typed summer camps near me, and then she found farm camp, which was my first sleepaway camp. And she was like, "Would you like to go for 2 weeks?" And I was like, "No,
yeah,
no, I want to go for 4 weeks."
awesome. It's a real working farm too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there are chores that you have to do to keep, but it's amazing. It's like a great experience. It teaches you about your leadership style. It teaches you about your leadership style. It teaches you a lot about animals. A lot. I'm not.
They
And
have
it's all outdoors. There is no going indoors.
really
Oh, unless you're counting going indoors for barn dances.
Barn dances. Wow, you had it all. So what kind of animals did you work with, Adam?
So on my chores, I was first on sheep chore, which can have 2 to 6 goats each year. So this year there were 2. I named one of them Coconut, and the other one was named Frostbite. Next year there's going to be 4 because of the 4 babies that were born this year. So.
And if our listeners haven't heard before, Plantation is a 500-acre farm.
Yes. But if you're going out into the 500 acres, you do have to sign out, but that's pretty easy.
Really? So how would you go into the larger part of the farm?
What? You just sign out. All you do is sign. Sorry, the lighting's getting a little. The lighting's not as bad.
It's good.
I mean, not as good as earlier, but okay. Yeah, close. So my second chore was chicken chore, and all these chores are for a week. And then in the middle of the 2-week sessions, which go with the 4-week sessions. Well, the second session, which is like after the first 4-week session ends, there are no 2-weekers. It's all 4. It's all 4 weeks, I think. And then there is the 2-week sessions change out, so they get picked up one day, and then you have you only have like a few kids in your group, and then you do this hike down a trail called the Beach Bake. It's called you go down Stumps Trail, and then you get a special treat, like special food that all kids like. well, maybe not all, but most kids would. And then you go down to the beach and
Oh, then you
stay
go to
there.
the beach. This camp reminds me of the camp I went to when I was young in Missouri. It was on Lake Taneycomo, and we had these long steps that we did each day. And when we got down at the bottom, we were on the lake, which was huge, and we did all kinds of water sports and such on there. What kind of activities did you do there at the farm camp? I know that they have you doing the chores with the animals and such, but do you have time for fun activities too?
Yes.
Or it's all
So
fun.
the daily schedule is you wake up, you have 15 minutes to get dressed and do your morning things like brush your
Yep.
teeth. But you could also do that at your chores. So you go do your animal chores. Then you hear a bell ring, and that's your 10-minute bell for breakfast. Then another one rings, and then you get to your table with the people that you're sitting at. Usually you get to pick who you're sitting at. This year it was just your group. And then when you're at your table, so there's already food at the table. And then at meal times there's like a special line for there's a PB&J line at lunch, but it's a buffet usually at lunch. And after breakfast there's then the activities, in the morning activities, which is 2 hours, I believe. And then you can do, there's this thing called the brain, which is like the docket for the day. There's activities you can pick from. So usually in the morning, there'd be archery.
Adam, can you name a couple of those activities?
Yeah, there will usually be archery, golf, swimming. Well, no, that's afternoon. Sorry. Ultimate frisbee.
Nice.
Art down at the Osprey House. A lot of art happens in the morning. Tie-dye, clay, but tie-dyes are only on Tuesdays.
Did you have a favorite one, Adam?
My favorite morning activity is archery. And then there's lunch, and then my favorite. Then there's a rest time that they call siesta, because it's sort of like a siesta and a rest.
Nice.
It's a really fun time if you want to play a quiet game.
Yeah.
And like get to know some people in your group. And then there is afternoon activities that can include capture the flag, and there's swimming, capture the flag, sport games down in the lower meadow.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
And then there's horse riding, but that's by group. They're optional if your group is there, but so.
Did you go horseback riding?
Yeah, I did it twice, and then I did vaulting once.
Well, you're talking to a horsewoman here. I've got a horse at the Sea Ranch too. So how did you enjoy riding?
I enjoyed riding.
What was your horse's name?
I rode two.
Uh-huh.
And one I rode twice, which is Trooper. He's my favorite.
I like
And
them.
then there's Tivio. I really like Tivio. He's like all white, and he has these blue eyes.
Ooh, my horse has one blue eye too. He's a black and white paint. Well, if you're just tuning in, I'd like to let you know that we're talking to young Adam Steitz, 10-year-old sea rancher with his mom, Katherine Van Loon. And we're talking this morning first about farm camp, and then we'll switch over to space camp, a couple of summer camps he did this year. I'm Leanne Lindsay, along with Peggy Berryhill as your hosts today. And this is KGUA in Wallala, 88.3 FM, streaming at kgua.org and on apps Radio Garden and TuneIn. We're also on YouTube, so you could check in and say hello to Adam, wave to him, see what we're doing here on the visual channel. And Peggy, I'm so happy you could join us from your home, Anchor Bay.
I'm very happy too. I'm glad to hear about farm camp, which is in Plantation, which many of us know. That's just up Cruise Rhododendron Road. And because of the era we're in, they usually have the Mother's Day brunches, which we love to go to. And so you get a little view of what Adam's talking about at farm camp. So it sounds like it was great. So what do you think were some of it sounds like you learned all kinds of things. Did you watch stars at night too up there?
Yes. So there are tents that you have your trunk in, but those are they just have flaps, so you don't really, and you have a assigned tent mate. So when you're a tent mate, and so you have an assigned tent mate, you cannot change your tent mate. But if you like sleeping outside, not in the tent, you can sleep under the stars.
Oh, I like
every night. I slept under the stars 23 out of 28 nights there were.
You did.
Wow.
I'm impressed. I did that too. Living in Colorado, I used to take my horses up in the high country and we would camp out and I'd sleep out under the stars like that too. So Adam, going to this farm camp again, you mentioned earlier something about leadership. So tell us what you did learn about your leadership style.
So my leadership style is kind, and I would listen to others, kind, selflessness, and patience.
So important, especially these days, right?
Mm-hmm. And what you need these days is empathy.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a big word. How did you learn about empathy?
Just really found it this year on my way. Just I just found it this year. Just thinking about what others are feeling, putting myself in others' shoes.
Exactly. Putting yourself in other people's shoes is not always easy, but when we do,
it feels great.
It does feel good, doesn't it? You have an easier time communicating that way.
And making friends.
That's right. And making friends. How many people were, other young kids were in your group?
My group was made of 6 kids, including me. So in total, there were 10 kids that came into my group because of the 2-weekers and the 4-weekers, 2 4-weekers, which were me and my tent mate. And I really just miss the people that were there, because really the people at farm camp were amazing.
I would like to read a little bit about what farm camp has on their website too, because it tells a little bit more about what they're doing there. They want to teach love and respect for nature, and
they're tech free though.
They're right nonprofit. They practice and teach environmental sustainability and focus on a positive self-image, encouraging the friendships you were just talking about, and community, and practicing a healthy lifestyle. And you learn all about that farm to table from the vegetables and whatever they grow there on the farm, correct? I think you're
Yes, yeah, it's all, and yeah, it's definitely farm to table. So, um, so, the other important things is just like no tech and just, as you're doing a chore with an animal that you're not sure about, you'll really, really fall in love with them. Like I fell in love with the goats.
and you're just totally disconnected from online and computers,
Yes.
and phones. So you're right there with an animal in real time.
You're disconnected. You can, I played a lot with the sheep. Some of them are scaredy cats, but the main sheep I played with were Larry, which is the biggest one. He's been around for 7 years. We know 5 years, I think. But he's a pretty old sheep. He was happy when camp went back into session because he got a little lonely. And then there was Latte. I mean, I like chasing her around.
Well, what about those goats? Were they happy to be chased?
No, actually, they were friendly. They were very friendly.
Great.
Because goats are just friendly animals. So
They are.
They have beautiful eyes, don't they?
Yeah.
What are some of their names? Do you remember?
So the ones that lived with the sheep were Coconut and Frostbite. Coconut had like all these brown spots around her, and then Coconut was all white. But I mean, Frostbite was all white, but she had a few darker spots, like just like a tan color, not super dark. And so and then their mom and the mom goat, which was Blizzard, had babies while I was there, and I got to watch the birth of 3. But there were 4
Now
born.
that's an experience. That's a great experience.
I got to watch 4.
I got to watch growing up at our ranch in Texas, cattle and horses being born. So it's a very interesting experience to see that life coming into the world, and also working through some of the challenges that may arise from that. But it sounds like it went well, the birth of those goats.
The goat birth was very successful, and so and then there were 2 more goats that were walked like puppies. They were called the puppy goats, and their names were Maple and Fern. The babies' names were, so Blizzard is actually Coconut and Frostbite's mom too. They're about 1.5 years old. So when camp was out of session, they were born. So that's why no one got down to naming them.
Well, we have been talking this morning for the first half hour of Peggy's Place with Adam Steitz, a young man in the Sea Ranch, along with his mom popping in and out from there, Katherine Van Loon. And we've been talking about farm camp, which is just south of us in North Sonoma County on Plantation. It's a 500-acre working farm where the kids get to stay a 2-week or 4-week stay. And he's been telling us all about his great fun experience there with the animals, the activities that they do, what they learn from it. And we also now are going to transition. We're actually going to go, and Peggy Berryhill is here with me on Peggy's Place. I'm Leanne Lindsay, by the way, and this is KGUA in Wallala. So now we're going to go farm to space. So we were doing farm to table, now we're doing farm to space. And he's now showing us his space camp t-shirt that he's got on.
A big smile. What a big difference. We're gonna, in a sense, leave the earth for a little bit here. And your mother also went to space camp too, didn't you? You can talk.
I don't think that the experience was out of this world.
Well, I just, it's a week-long educational program that promotes science, technology, engineering, and math. That's called STEM. So you must have learned quite a bit. And how long was your stay on space camp?
So it's 6 days and then 5 nights.
Okay. And Peggy, you had just asked Katherine if she had been there before. So we wanted to hear from you too, Katherine.
Katherine, didn't you
Yes.
also go to space camp?
I am a space camp alum.
Alumni.
I graduated in 1989.
Oh,
So I was familiar with space camp, and it was a memorable experience from my childhood. So this year, when Adam got really interested in space and rockets over the course of the year, we started looking into this experience. And I happen to have a sister who lives in Nashville, which is just 2 hours from Huntsville. So we were able to also have a little mini family reunion and plan a trip around this experience for him.
great. Now your experience, since you were older, you actually, if I recall from the website, you got a little bit more hands-on, sort of like being in the control room, didn't you?
We actually were able to pull out the video from my experience the night before Adam went off to space camp. And a lot of it was actually fairly similar in terms of the experiences. We did a rocket construction experience, several simulators and an anti-gravity chair, and then the
There's
culmination
no
of
anti-gravity chair. It's 1/6 gravity chair.
so it's a
1/6 gravity chair
it-
sounds fun too.
It simulates when you're on the moon.
All right.
But you don't want to turn into so you don't want to turn into a turtle. Have you ever seen where a turtle gets flipped onto its shell? They can't get back up. So one of the astronauts on, I think, Apollo, I can't remember which mission, not Apollo 11, no, I think it was Apollo 14, 15, but one of the astronauts said, I think I can jump the highest, and landed on his back and couldn't get back up.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
That's so you got to meet astronauts.
No, I didn't really.
Oh,
get to
that
do
was a
but-
story they told you?
No, so on Zoom, yes, there was an interview on Zoom. So we did sort of get to do that in a way.
You know, and I'm just reading from the press release, Katherine, that you sent me, and it says that almost 1 million trainees have graduated from space camp, including the European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti and NASA astronauts Dottie Metcalf Lindenberger, Dr. Kate Rubins, Dr. Serena, and I cannot see the last name, Anand Chancellor, and even Christina Koch, who set the record for the longest duration space flight by a female. And that's amazing. Children and teachers from all 50 states and almost 150 international locations have attended the space camp program there in Alabama. So quite an experience that you were able to do. When you first arrived there, Adam, what does it look like? What could people expect to see when they arrive?
So when you arrive, here, I can show a few pictures.
Oh,
Here.
good.
So you go into this bunk room, like where all the bunks are.
And
It
if
says,
you,
through these doors
uh-huh.
through these doors enter the world's future astronauts, scientists, and engineers. And then, here, let me show you.
And if you're on, if you can get on YouTube, you will be able to see Adam holding up these pictures. Just Google KGUA and it will get to our channel. So thank you for showing us that picture. So when you arrive, is it a big campus? Is it a small campus?
It's the whole museum is all Space Camp campus, and the museum is huge. So where we spent a lot of the time was the Davidson Center, where a test Saturn V, like just a structural test, is held inside of the Davidson Center. And outside, you may think that one's the real Saturn V, but that one's actually just a model. But it is the same size as the actual Saturn V.
And
As
you
the
said-
Saturn V. Wow. Do you get to go inside it or sit in it? No.
No, you do not. There is a capsule simulator, but that's like all you do is flip buttons. It doesn't really do anything.
But you spent a week training with a team that flew a simulated space mission to the International Space Station. Is that correct? Or to the moon? Which one did you do? We have to get your
My
audio.
mom isn't it. My mom keeps on muting me. You are not allowed to mute me. No muting me.
So what what kind of mission did
So
you
what-
have?
yeah.
Mine is the Rising Star mission, the moon mission. Rising Star is the lunar station, but that's like all science fiction. It's not gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna be the name of the lunar station. I'm not sure. Not fully sure, but that's just I don't think it's
Well, there are a lot of plans for a space station on or above the moon or above the Earth. So those are in the
yes,
works.
there is one that is confirmed, the Gateway, where the Orion docks and the lander will undock once the astronauts are inside. And one will stay to attend the station, the Gateway, and it will land. And then the lander will land on the moon, and that's like what's going to start on Artemis 3, I believe, and then on Artemis 6, the Orion will dock with the lunar starship.
So Adam, what was your day like then?
So
Go ahead.
So we start out by doing a little activity, and so we have 45 minutes to wake up and do our stuff like in the morning, and then we have like 2 or 3 activities, maybe even 1, and then breakfast, and then after breakfast we have more activities, and then more activities.
What do you mean by activities?
Yeah.
So there's the MAT chair, 1/6 gravity chair, but like you only go to it as a group. You don't get to pick your activities each day. But there's sometimes games, like there's sometimes games, not card games, like tag, and and we built a rocket and launched them with actual motor and with these rocket motors. If you have seen those little tube motors, like that, about that size, and then
Wow.
there is larger ones like this size. Like
And he's holding his hands up to his eyes and
no, like these are
framing his eyes.
these are the sizes.
Oh, that's the size. when you
Yeah,
frame it with
and
your
then,
both hands.
so my rocket was on number 2, on the launcher number 2. The first rocket went about 150 feet, and then mine really ignited fast and had a great angle, so it went up about 375 feet.
Wow.
Wow, that's high.
Tell us how you build a rocket. What do you start?
So there's like these parts in the tube, the engine mount, the engine, and the parachute, and the nose cone. You launch it, and then once it starts falling fast, that triggers the nose cone to come off and open up, and the parachute comes out. And when the parachute comes out, it starts going down slowly. But mine, I couldn't retrieve. I would bring it if I had it retrieved. But it went to the Hall of Fame, which is all these trees. and you can't get your rockets down from there.
The Hall of Fame. So
like
you're up
that.
there with a lot of other rockets. That sounds cool. I did, you see a big smile. So that sounds like a lot of fun. What other kinds of things did you do?
So we had there was the MAT, multi-axis trainer, also known as the spinny chair.
That's right. I remember you telling me about that the other day.
And then 1/6 gravity chair, and then the axis, like all the thought, they're like the 8 ways of motion or something like that. I can't remember that, but that one is like an activity. You go up, down.
The
and then-
yaw, the axis.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
one.
Just like
And then-
flying a plane. Speaking as a former pilot too. So
Yeah.
you must have had to learn some math and flight techniques.
Well, we did a few flight simulators, more rocket simulators, and rocket related activities. The mission was right. Can I tell you about the mission? Is that
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
so? The mission is where you go, and so you start out on Expedition 18. I was on the Expedition 18 commander, and then the mission specialists go out and help fix the solar panels. The commander and the pilot work and do the science experiments. So we did crystal growth, and
Crystal growth. That sounds
well, it was like fast, and the crystals were kind of sharp. I didn't really want to bring any home. And we did slime, and I don't know where I put that slime.
What is the purpose of slime?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, missed that.
Testing out crystal growing in space and slime in space, I guess.
yeah, just to see the different properties of growing things in space versus on Earth.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about science that way.
Mhm.
So what do you remember that you enjoyed the most, and what are some of the takeaways that you had? And we're talking, by the way, I need to let our listeners know that we're talking with Adam Steitz of the Sea Ranch, a 10-year-old young man with his mom in the background there, sort of sometimes in the frame. That's Katherine Van Loon, and they both are graduates of this space camp that is in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's the U.S. Space and Rocket Center where it is located. It's the NASA Marshall Space Flight Center, the official visitor center that is associated with the Smithsonian as well. And this is KGUA in Wallala, 88.3 FM, streaming at kgua.org and on apps Radio Garden and TuneIn. This is Peggy's Place. I'm Leanne Lindsay, along with Miss Peggy Berryhill herself from Anchor Bay. And we are going to let you, Miss Host, and we're both co-hosts. What would you like to ask Adam right now?
Well, Adam, do you think being to this camp, does this make you want to study space more? Might you want to be an astronaut someday or work in mission control?
Well, before space camp, I still wanted to be a rocket scientist, not mainly in mission control, like to invent the parts that would be needed to make new rockets and like have special new abilities.
So it
That's
sounded like
very
you really,
cool.
yeah, and that you really like the rocket part.
So, and so when I watched my mom's video, there were 3 girls and the rest were boys. This year there were only 4 boys, so we've really made a change,
Ah.
and so there's a lot of women scientists out there.
That's great. Well, so everybody's working together using their brains. Can we talk to your mom for a minute? Hi. So how did that feel to have your son go to space camp after you'd been there?
It was pretty amazing actually to walk through the door with him that said, "Through these doors walk the future astronauts, engineers, and scientists of the world." I've gone on to a career in medicine, so it resonated with me. And I thought it was really fascinating to hear from Adam the change in the gender balance in the makeup of the groups, where the boys were actually outnumbered by girls, whereas
That is very interesting to hear.
when we watched my video, it was completely the opposite. So that was also very poignant to me, going back 30 years later to see that shift of girls in science and being supported with education in STEM.
I have another follow-up question for you. I'm still fascinated by slime in space, but I would imagine that might have something to do also with medical needs in space, salves or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't really see that, but like, I didn't really see anything like that. I didn't really hear. All we did was make slime.
But I just think your mom might have an idea from a medical point of view that might have been useful.
Sure. So I don't know exactly what the experiment they were doing, but certainly a lot of the experiments that have happened on the International Space Station, studies of astronauts in space, are about how the impact of space and the different environment on the human body.
Oh, I have one funny thing. So one time at space camp, one of the people on the mission, well, one of the mission specialists, when they came back from fixing the solar panels, they asked, can I make some slime? And then they did do that, but they added baking soda and vinegar, and the slime exploded.
Oh no.
I know
Wow.
that there was when Richard Branson took his flight into space, they did have somebody with him that also was growing things in space to see how it would, even during that short time they did. And when those rockets launched into space, were you in space camp at the time, or was that before or after? With both Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson.
Oh, so when I think that was around the time, yeah, that was like in the same month.
So it must have been interesting to have a reflection of that while you're there at space camp. And so go ahead.
There were no manned Blue Origin flights before Jeff Bezos was launched into space. That was the first manned Blue Origin flight.
Let's go to the space camp again and just find out a little bit about what appealed to you. You said rockets, but what else learning experience did you gain from it that you appreciate learning?
What I learned that there were 3 Artemis astronauts that are also Space Camp alumni. The generation of kids that were there this year were also known as the Space Generation or Mars Generation.
Oh, that's very interesting to know. And Peggy, you look like you have a question that you wanted to ask.
No, I'm saving something to the end that's actually not related, but the space camp. So you've been a little bit in space and you've been on Earth. What do
At
you?
farm camp, yeah.
Yeah, at farm camp. How does that connect to you? Is there a connection now between when you were lying there looking at the stars from farm camp to going to space camp?
That's a good one.
Well, a lot, yeah. I was like, I learned at space camp that like the Big Dipper a few like in like 4,000 years ago looked very different. Like here.
Wow.
Here, like it would here. Can I? Oh, so its handle was bent down and it's and the scooper was like and then back up a little bit. It didn't. I was like really surprised to learn that.
So it didn't look so much like a dipper? Is that what you're saying? Wow. And did they tell you why?
It looked no. Well, stars move around, but it looked more like a bent spoon.
A bent spoon. Okay.
So at farm camp, some kids actually bent the spoons and forks, and then the counselors did try to bend them back, but some of them broke. So new farm campers that are listening, please do not bend spoons.
Don't bend the spoon.
Don't spin the spoons. So what were the sleeping arrangements that you had there at space camp?
Well, there were 4 people in my bunk. And then there were 2 bunks of girls. So there's 3 bunks in every group, I believe.
3 bunks. So is it like a dorm or a cabin or?
No, it's not. No, like they're all different bunks, all random, just around the same age.
Gotcha. And what kind of things did you do, say, for lunch when you went to lunch? Just like you were talking about a peanut butter lime at the other one.
No, you can ask what you want from the choices there are. There are people that are serving it. So, and then there's like a drink fridge. There's water in there. There's juice and milk.
Did you get to try any astronaut food?
No, not this year. No. That was like back when she went to space camp.
Oh, she did, your mom.
How was your what was that like?
It's pretty gross. That was actually part of my memory video was our facial expressions and reactions to
Astronaut food.
astronaut food.
I used to.
Yeah.
My favorite Smithsonian museum is Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. I would go there all the time. And, you can buy that. I think you're muted again. You can buy samples of astronaut food. And they have
they have the astronaut ice cream. I remember that.
Yeah.
But actually, astronaut ice cream has never been to space.
Never been to space. Wow.
It's just too many crumbs.
Oh.
That was learned the hard way by someone that brought up sandwiches.
Oh, so that's why everything, I don't know, everything is in, maybe it's changed, but it seemed like they were tubes of stuff. Kind of like
yeah.
baby
It's
food.
like,
Baby food is icky if you've ever tasted baby food. It's
uh,
really not tasty.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the show. An hour does go by so quickly, doesn't it? But I wanted to ask you, Adam. This is Adam Steitz of the Sea Ranch, along with his mom, Katherine Van Loon. And Adam, between the two camps, which one appeals to you? What appeals to you most?
I would go back to farm camp, not really to space camp, because you would do the same thing twice. So not like a do-over experience. I really love farm camp and the goats.
And they have 2
Wow.
and 4 week,
Well,
2 and 4 week. Right.
Yeah, and there's also at the end of the year, like around now, there's 2 1-week sessions that go on. So and you can become a counselor if you're older than 17, because there are SILT, which are campers in leadership training.
Oh, you just might become a counselor one day then.
Yes.
Oh, good for you.
And there's also something called a year award where you get, so when you come back, you get somewhat of an award, and a year award, which everyone gets. Well, there's year awards if you're coming, if you come again, but it starts at 3 years. 3 years is a chair, and then like a chair that's folded up and you can hang on your backpack. So when you need a little rest at the beach, you can put that down. But,
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
and there's a backpack for 4 years, I think, and then headlamp for 5, and then a blanket for 6, a hammock for 7, and then anywhere from 8, I don't know.
Well, thank you so much, Adam Steitz and Katherine Van Loon, for coming on Peggy's Place today to tell us about your experiences this summer at both farm camp and summer camp. We've got a lot of new families here in the area, and I'm sure they're interested to hear about this camp that's nearby in Plantation. And Peggy, you had one last thing to say.
I have a word for us today, a word I learned. It's called triskaidekaphobia. Anybody know what that means?
No idea.
Triskaidekaphobia. That's the fear of 13, and this is Friday the 13th. So some people are afraid of the number 13 or Friday the 13th, and that's what it's called. So I just had to share that. Who knew that there was a word for that? Triskaidekaphobia.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you both. It was really fun. We learned a lot, didn't we?
We did, and now we're going to say goodbye to you both.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. It's a beautiful
Bye.
day out there.
Bye, Leanne. Have a good day.
All right, bye. All right, that's going to do it for Peggy's Place here at KGUA in Wallala 88.3 FM. We're